Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queer and Trans Yoga. My name is Milo. My pronouns are he, him, his, or they, them, theirs. I'm still working on the sound for these. So we're going to try a headset today. It's a little bit echoey, but it is keeping some of the background noise out and be interesting given what I'm thinking about theming today in terms of like universal access, just how hard it's been to get these online videos, just like the basics of accessibility. So my apologies for the time it's taking to get there. So before we start, make sure you have something you can use as a blanket that'll allow you to pad your knees for some of our practice, to make into a roll to put behind your knees or to use for some height. So we'll do a couple of asanas where you might want to have like, sort of at least this much height underneath you, maybe more. So I'm going to get a couple blankets. So we're going to start in child's pose. Knees wide, feet together. If when you come and sit your heels back, your knees feel a little not great, like maybe you're bending a bit too deeply, you're going to take your towel, blanket, whatever you have, make a relatively thin roll, long roll, and then put it behind the knees, and you can sit back on that. If you want some height underneath the head, you can use the blanket for that as well, or a block if you have one. And then you'll walk the hands down. Let the forehead come down to either the mat or you'll put some height underneath. And let the forearms rest. Deep breaths into the low belly. Soften the hips. Soften the face. And take 3 more deep breaths into the low belly here. And you're going to start to lift the hips and the shoulders. Come up onto hands and knees. Remove any props from behind you if you've got any knee sensitivity, or even if you think you might, because we're going to stay on these for a little while. You can take your blanket or your block, fold it up, and put it underneath the knees. And bring your wrists under your shoulders, knees under the hips. Take a few gentle cat cows. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the crown of the head and the sitting bones. Exhale to round. Inhale to cow. And exhale to round. One more time through. Drop the belly, lift the crown of the head and sitting bones. And exhale, round the back. And you're going to start to walk your hands in towards your knees and come up onto the knees. So we're going to do a series here. If being on your knees is uncomfortable, you can sit either with your legs crossed in front, you can sit on a chair, or you can do this standing. So from wherever you are, you're going to gently squeeze your inner thighs together. If you're sitting with your legs crossed, you can just kind of engage the inner thighs. And draw the low belly in. You're going to inhale, lift the fingertips all the way up. You're going to lift them up as far as is comfortable for you. This is one of my language sticking points where I say all the way up overhead, just high enough so that you're extending out. And then exhale, down. Inhale up. And exhale down. One more time. On an inhale, bring the fingertips up towards the ceiling, the sky. And then you're going to exhale and do a twist. Bring your right hand forward, left hand back, and twist towards the left. You're going to try to keep your sitting bones pointed forward. Twist at the low ribs, and then upper back to shoulders. And take 3 deep breaths here. Inhale, come back up to center, and exhale, twist the other direction. Again, trying to keep the hips both pointing forward, the front of the hip bones. The pelvis is as neutral as possible. And then you're going to twist towards the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale the fingertips down. Bring the hands to heart center. Take a few breaths in and out through the nose. I was talking to one of my fellow yoga teachers a couple of days ago, and we were talking about this kind of, well, I was saying that I feel like there's a pressure to be neutral in some ways, which I'm not. I talk about politics and social justice a lot in yoga, but that there's this desire to be a space like for anyone, that anyone could be there and show up. And I still think that's important. And helping the fingertips back up again. Exhale, twist to the left. But I was thinking that there's a difference between like creating a space that's possibly something anybody could tap into. Inhale back to center, exhale the other direction, which would be a space that's as like least triggering as possible. So that there's this possibility for universal participation. Inhale back to center, exhale the hands down, and back to heart center. But that's not the same as what we often think of as neutrality. You're going to bring your fingers to interlace, right? So you're going to move one hand a little bit forward and then bring the fingertips down into a little hold in your own hand clasp. And then you're going to press the hands down as far as is comfortable. So you might end up straightening the arms, you might not. You want to keep rolling the shoulders back and extending up to the crown of the head. Take a couple breaths, try to soften the shoulders away from the ears. On an inhale, you're going to come forward and up as far as is comfortable. So again, you might have a big bend in the elbows. You might go towards the ceiling. You might stop about halfway up. And then on an exhale, you're going to flip the palms, bring them down so that your forearms are parallel to the floor, and then all the way back down. And you're going to move with your breath here through this. So inhaling and pressing towards out, towards up, and then exhale, flip the hands, come down past heart center, and press down towards the floor. Inhale, towards up. Exhale, flip, come towards down. So as you're doing this, I invite you to think about the difference between what you might think of as like either an ideal or a neutral kind of yoga. Like this is what my body's supposed to feel like or look like versus a universal um, practice, right, for you. Like, what do you need to do to make the practice accessible and fit you? Um, what do I need to try to do to make that an option? Versus this kind of what we might think of as neutral or average or ideal, which is actually just a bunch of dominant stuff that doesn't actually include everybody. The next time you come down, you go ahead and release, you know, just roll the wrists one direction and then roll them the other. On your next inhale, you're going to bring the hands up again towards the ceiling. If they go all the way and you can bring the hands together, this time you're going to interlace and maybe point your first finger forward, not like the first thing maybe we think of, right? So that's another example. Inhale, reach the fingers up, and then exhale over towards the right. Press the left knee down. When I make this shape with my fingers, there's something that I think of, which is not just some natural neutral thing. That's part of the culture I live in. And I'm going to try to change it. So I think of like uh, a little tree shooting up from the ground. Spent a lot of time looking at acorns with my kid recently. Inhale back to center, exhale the other direction. So that to me is a more inviting, universal image than if I said the thing that we may often think of when people make a shape like this with their hands. Inhale, back to center, exhale, hands come down. You're gonna bring your right foot out, stay on the left knee. You're gonna press the whole sole of the right foot down and then into the outer edge of the right foot. You're gonna bring the right hand gently down the right leg, so don't press on your knee. Don't really press, but you can gently rest the fingers. You're gonna take the left hand up and over. You're gonna take that side body stretch again. See if you can get a little bit deeper into the left outer hip. Roll the left shoulder back, look up. And then given everything I said, instead of trying to find a sort of average or ideal or neutral version of like this is what yoga should look like, think about making this practice universal, which means that you have to do whatever makes it accessible and useful for you. The more people that do that, the more it becomes like a truly accessible universal practice. Exhale, bring the left hand down to the mat. If you've got a block, please put it underneath your hand. If not, you'll just come under the fingertips. Press into the outer edge of the right foot, and then the right fingertips come up and over. Again, long side body stretch. Roll the right shoulder back. Maybe look up, open the chest, and then find what's going to fill you up from this pose. Exhale, bring the top hand down. We're going to come to hands and knees. Feel free to turn so that you're on your mat if you want. I'm just going to stay with the hands off. And then we're going to do, actually, I'm not. I'm going to turn so you can see me. We're going to do a little bird dog. So you're going to inhale, left hand up with the palm in, right foot goes back. You're going to stretch out through the heel and the fingertips, and then plug the shoulder and the thigh bone in. Draw the low belly up and in. Inhale, bring the knee and the elbow together, and exhale to lengthen out. Inhale in, exhale out. Inhale in, exhale out. And then knee and hand come down. I'll switch sides. Bring the right fingertips out with the palm in. Left heel goes back. Squeeze the low belly. Inhale, bring the knee and the elbow together. And exhale out. And then be doing this in a way that makes sense for you. So if you're still having knee sensitivity, do these movements seated. You can sit in a chair and lift the hand up, draw the knee up towards your belly. It's my job to try to make space for everyone to access and to try to take out of my assumptions and language, vocabulary, hand and knee comes down. And then we're going to switch sides. So you'll extend the left leg out, walk in, you'll be up on the right knee. Left hand goes down the left leg gently, right hand reaches up and over. Side body stretch on the right. And this will be a lifelong work and I will never get it right. But to stop thinking of the spaces I try to hold for others as ever possibly being neutral and being as open to the universal as possible. And then it's just your job to show up where you can and match the practice to you. Exhale, bring the top hand down to the mat. Left hand comes up and over, press into the outer edge of the left foot. Stretch up to the left hand, roll the left shoulder onto the back. This time you're going to exhale, bring the top hand down, come onto the toes of the back foot, and then step back to downward facing dog. You can move your blanket or towel off a little bit, stretch out through the backs of the heels. You can drop the heels side to side. You can always take hands and knees for your downward dog. As you're ready, you'll inhale, look forward towards the hands, start to walk the feet up. Really thinking of this movement forward as universally acceptable, which means that if you are not a person who walks, there's another way to be doing what we're doing. Right? So if you're seated, you would be slowly folding forward over the legs. Bring the feet side to side, bend to the knees, lengthen up the crown of the head. So this is not to suggest that it is other people's responsibility to make yoga accessible, but only to not come with your own ideas of what's natural or neutral. Inhale, come to halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale, root into the feet, come to stand, stretch the fingertips wherever you're going to stretch them, and then exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale to reach. Exhale, right hand forward, left hand back. Inhale to center, keep drawing the belly button towards the backbone, keep the hips neutral. In this case, there is kind of a neutral, not to one side or the other. Inhale back center. Exhale, bend in the knees and fold. Inhale, come to halfway. Exhale, plant the hand, step back to your downward facing. Inhale forward to plank. Knees can be up or down here. Draw the belly button towards the backbone. Exhale, bend the elbows back behind. Flip the toes. Roll the shoulders up and down. And then exhale, tuck the toes. Belly button goes towards the backbone. Come to hands and knees. And then up and back, keeping a neutral low back. So again, there is such a thing as neutrality, like not overly arched and not overly rounded. But in terms of a practice or a space, there's no neutral. Like there's just whoever is holding the space offering, whoever is in the space taking, and then giving feedback if the person holding the space is not holding it well for the possibility of universal access. Inhale, look forward, start to walk the feet to the hands again, or do whatever it is that you are doing to match this part of the practice to your body. We'll meet up in a forward fold. Inhale the halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, root into the feet, come to stand, stretch the fingertips. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale to reach. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale to center. And exhale, bend in the knees and fold. Inhale to halfway. Exhale, plant the hand, step back to downward facing. On an inhale, come forward to plank. On an exhale, bend the elbows back and lower, hips and shoulders together. On an inhale, flip the toes, roll the shoulders up and back. And then exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips and the shoulders together. So you can come to your hands and knees, or you can come up through chaturanga and back to downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. We're going to go one more time through this sun A. And by this sun A, I really want to invite you to do your sun A. So I'm going to go through the same motion, and you're going to take or leave what you need. You could stay in downward facing. You could come to child's pose. You could just pause for a second, come off the mat. Really what you need for this third sun salutation. If you're coming with me, you'll inhale, look forward, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale the halfway lift. Exhale the fold. Inhale, root into the feet with a long spine. Come up, stretch out. And then exhale, pull in. Inhale, expand out. Twist towards the left. Inhale to center. Twist towards the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend in the knees and fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands, step back to downward facing. Inhaling forward to plank. Exhale to lower, again with a straight is not right. Neutral is actually the right word. Neutral spine, the spine that fits the curve that you would have if you were standing. And then exhale, lift up and back to downward facing, 3 deep breaths. Inhale, lift the right heel up. You're going to exhale and bring the right knee up and in towards the chest. Squeeze it in, squeeze the belly to the backbone, and then bring your right foot as close as you can get it to your right hand. You'll just scooch it up the rest of the way. You're going to have a long stance front to back. Squeeze the feet towards each other and inhale up to crescent lunge. So again, making the offering fit you, not trying to make you fit in neutral or some kind of space that has no, I'm not coming with anything. I'm coming with a lot of things. So use anything that I'm saying and offering just as like a container, and then fill it up with what you want, or set the container to the side and do something next to it. Squeeze the feet, sit down into the front sitting bone. And then you're going to exhale, bring the hands down inside your front foot, walk around towards the left, and then bring the toes to point towards what was the left side of your mat. Even the feet side to side. Squeeze the inner edges of the feet, lift the sitting bones, and let the crown of the head come down. Bend as much as you need to, want to, into the knees. Lift the sitting bones a little bit more. And you're going to inhale, come to your halfway lift. Keep squeezing the inner edges of the feet. And then you're going to bend into the left knee as much as you need to get some stretch into the right inner thigh. Inhale back to center, and exhale bend into the right knee. And then you're going to move back and forth with your breath. You can move one breath, one movement. You can pause on one side for several breaths to release the inner thigh a little bit. You can bend really deeply into the knee. You could bend just a tiny bit. If you're getting a ton of stretch to begin with, you could just kind of shift the weight side to side a little bit. You might not even need to bend into the knees. But like looking for the truth that yoga is actually something that could fill up, light up, make a focus for anyone, right? Even if I'm not offering that practice right now because I'm not that good to be able to make it universally fit everyone. It doesn't mean that you have to like everyone's practice and that every teacher has to be teaching to every single person. But the idea that it's universal and not neutral, I think, is really important. Come back to center, drop the crown of the head, shake out the neck, the face be soft. Walk the hands around towards the front of the mat. You'll bring the toes to point towards the front. Bring your right foot, step the right foot back to meet the left. And then you're going to take whatever you want for vinyasa. So vinyasa being the thing we do between sides. You can come forward to plank, lower and do a back bend, which is what we were doing during those sun A's, or you were if you wanted to be. Or you can take a child's pose, which is a great vinyasa. Downward facing dog is a great vinyasa. Drinking water, especially on a day like today, is a great vinyasa. What is going to help fill you up, light you up, connect you, focus you? Take that. We'll meet back in downward facing. Inhale the left heel up. Exhale, bring the left knee up and in. Plant the left foot by the left hand. Squeeze the feet and inhale out to crescent. You know, bend as much as you need to into the back knee. If that's bending it all the way to the mat, that's great. Keep squeezing the feet, sitting down into the left sitting bone. Keep the shoulders soft, coming down away from the ears. And then take all that I just offered and understand it not as a neutral or ideal description of a body position, but as offerings of direction that you could try out to see what's going to fit your practice. On an exhale, bring the hands down inside the front foot, walk them around, widen the feet side to side. Then you're going to walk your hands forward. You're going to be like in a downward facing dog. You can be up on your fingers, bend as much as you need to in the legs. Then you're going to press into the hands, the fingertips, and then bring the hips back behind. Squeeze the inner edge of the feet. Walk the hands in. You're going to bring your left hand towards or onto the right leg, and then lean back into a twist here. Exhale, come to center. Right hand goes to or towards. So you can use the mat or your leg, and then lean back into a twist the opposite direction. Exhale, unwind. Walk the hands around towards the front of the mat. Toes point forward. Step the left foot back, and take what you want for vinyasa. And we're all going to meet up in a child's pose for a few breaths. Knees wide, feet together. Sit the hips back. Let the forehead rest. The forehead really relax. Feel the weight of the mat, but like the pressure of the mat and the floor coming up against the forehead. And inhale, we'll come up to hands and knees. And inhale, lift the right fingertips up, open the chest towards the right. Exhale, bring the right fingertips down under the left armpit. Come on to the right side of the head and the right shoulder. And if they don't come comfortably down, you're going to fold up your blanket or towel and give yourself some height. Squeeze the inner thighs. Try to keep the hips stable. And then you're going to press down into the left fingertip. Roll the left shoulder over the right. Take some deep breaths. So I think teaching queer and trans yoga, I mean, this is a pretty safe space for me to talk about how there's no neutral, because I think, one of the things that makes queer and trans yoga is an attentiveness and sensitivity not to bring heteronormativity and cisnormativity into the practice. Right? So exhale, unwind, Come back to hands and knees. Take a couple deep breaths. Inhale, lift the left fingertips. Exhale, bring the left hand down underneath the right armpit. Come onto the left side of the head. Squeeze the inner edges, just squeeze your inner thighs rather, and then press down into the right fingertips. Roll the right shoulder to the left. So, for example, I don't say things like ladies and gentlemen, or ladies, which is something that I hear a lot of yoga teachers say. Ladies and gentlemen is bad enough and non-inclusive, but like just ladies, really reflects the history of yoga in the West as marketed towards white cis women. But then that becomes the neutral. Right? Exhale and line. Come back to hands and knees. Take a couple deep breaths. And then some cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, around. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the crown of the head and the sitting bone. Exhale, to cat. Come back to neutral. Again, actual neutral. But you can do it in any number of ways, which makes it universal. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, stepping back. Inhale, lift the right heel. Exhale, bring the right knee up and in. Right foot goes to the right hand. Inhale to crescent. And then we're going to exhale and do a twist here. Left hand forward, right hand back. Keep squeezing the feet. Maybe bring that left shoulder around a little bit more and maybe not. Inhale, back to center. And then we're going to exhale and slowly bring the back knee down. If you need to bring your hands down first, please do. And then you can grab your blanket, towel, whatever you have, and put it under the back knee. Squeeze the front foot and the back knee. You're going to bring the right hand to the right side. You can even use your right thumb to lengthen the hip flexor a little bit. And then left hand comes up. You're going to reach up and over to the right a little bit, and then roll the left shoulder out your back. Maybe look up. So a little bit more for the quad, the hip flexor, and some side body. And then exhale. Bring the left elbow or hand. So you can bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee, or you can bring the elbow all the way across, hands to heart center. Come to a twist. We're going to exhale, unwind, and we're going to come back into gate pose here. So we're going to turn like 90 degrees to the left. The back foot is going to come around and off what was the right side of the mat. And then the right foot is going to lengthen out. Press into the outer edge of the right foot. Bring the left hand down. Right hand comes up and over. Roll the right shoulder back. Maybe look up a little bit more. Keep pressing into the outer edge of the back foot. On an exhale, you're going to bring the right hand down and walk it in front of your pose. So what would have been the left side of the mat You're going to keep your right leg in gate pose. And then we're going to take a twist here. So this is going to it's going to feel different for different people. Um, so we're going to take the right hand, lift it up, open the chest to the right, and then you're going to exhale, bring the right hand down underneath, and then you might want to adjust your height, your blanket or your towel, so that you get a little extra height. You're going to twist underneath, bring the left hand in front, but you don't want your torso to be like floating in space. So give yourself enough height that you can get down to the height. And if that doesn't work, then you can stay up for the twist a little bit and just lift the left hand up. So again, making this pose work for what you need is your contribution to the expansiveness of yoga. It's never that you're doing something wrong. Whatever you are doing that works is helping to make the practice more. Or not even more, like what it already was, what it should be. Exhale, come back to center. We're going to rotate back around here. So you're going to bring the left foot back behind and the front leg straight. And we're going to come into a little hamstring stretch. So now you might want to put the towel or blanket back under the back knee. Press down to the right heel, isometrically draw it back, belly button to backbone, lengthen out through the crown of the head. So as I was saying, like queer and trans, it makes it easy for me to recognize that there's not a neutral space or that I can't be what other people might consider to be neutral and still be a safe space for myself and other people. But there's a lot of other perspectives, identities that I have that are majority identities, dominant identities, where I know that I'm not making things as universal because I'm replicating a norm of neutrality, not on purpose, but because I don't always perceive it. Bend into the front leg, straighten the back leg, step the right foot back to meet the left. Take whatever you want for vinyasa. We'll meet back in downward facing. Inhale the left heel up. Exhale, left knee comes up and in. Left foot to the left hand. Squeeze the feet. Inhale to crescent. Sit down more into the left sitting bone. Squeeze the feet towards each other. And then you'll exhale into the twist. Right hand forward, left hand back. Keep squeezing the feet. Maybe bring the right shoulder around a little bit more. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, start to bend into the back knee. Come down to Anjali. Pad the back knee with whatever you have. Now squeeze the front foot in the back knee. Draw the low belly up and in. Left hand goes to the left hip flexor. Right hand comes up. You're going to reach up and over to the left. Roll the shoulder onto the back. So I think of things like being an able-bodied person or a person who is designated able-bodied by the categories that our society uses, being a white person, and the yoga spaces that I'm in being very much predominantly white. And I really wonder, like, how much trying to be neutral has made those spaces so much less than universal. Go ahead and come into your twist, right hand to the outside of the left knee, or your right elbow can come down outside the left knee, in which case your hands will come to heart center. I'm going to do an upper back twist. Exhale, unwind. Come into gate pose on the second side. So now you're going to twist or turn 90 degrees to the right. Your back foot's going to come around off what was the left side of the mat, and then your left foot is going to straighten out, press into the outer edge of the left foot. Right hand comes down, left hand up and over. For gate pose, roll the shoulder onto the back. I guess I want to get to a point where I can get more feedback about how to be more universal, but I also don't want people to have to go through experiencing lack of universality in order to get there. So the first thing I'm trying, exhale, bring the hands around in front, is to really be aware of when I'm thinking of something as neutral, that is actually keeping it from being potentially universal. Inhale, lift the left fingertips up, open the chest to the left, and then left hand comes down under the right armpit. Come as far down as you can, and then you'll take your height and put it underneath your head and your shoulder. Press into the right fingertips. Breathe into the twist. Exhale, unwind, take a breath. And then you can repad the knee if you took the height out for your shoulders. Walk the hands around. You're going to come into Ardha Hanuman, so you want to get, again, about a hip distance width between the knee, like if you drew a line forward from the knee to your foot. Frame your front foot, press the left heel down, isometrically drag it back, lengthen out through the front of the head. So I'm thinking of things like, the term gender neutral, which is like one of my pet peeves because I feel like there's just very different understandings of what that might mean for different people. So whenever somebody tells me something's gender neutral, it's like gray or I don't know, it's crayons or it's a bathroom, which is not a universal understanding of like access, right? That it's a universal right to pee comfortably. Go ahead and frame your front foot, step the left foot back to meet the right, take what you want for vinyasa. Or that People should be able to pick out colors and clothes that they like. Um, like then when neutral becomes what's like not anything interesting rather than the possibility for everything. From downward facing dog, you're going to walk the feet up and through your hands, come back down, lying on your back. Bring the knees in towards the chest. And then we're going to take a happy baby. And I really invite you to imagine, like, if you were a happy baby, what position would you be in? And if it's not this one, if this is like, doesn't make me happy at all, then find what would. Maybe it's just lying on your back, maybe it's rolling around a little bit, maybe it's holding the backs of the thighs instead of the feet. But like looking for some sort of joy in the asana, some sort of expansiveness. Like everybody has a right to being a happy baby. And there is no like neutral thing that everyone's gonna fit into. From whatever your happy baby is, bring the soles of the feet down, knees up towards the ceiling. Take the palms, you're gonna bring them to where your torso meets your thighs and just press forward. Release, cross the right ankle over the left knee. Draw the left knee up and in. You can just hold it up with your core. You can bring your hands behind your left thigh, or you can take a shirt or a strap or something and hold one end in each hand. You can be doing something totally different. Flex in the left foot. Bring your left pinky toe back towards your left outer knee. And then again, move in a way that feels expansive or joyful. If that's not moving at all and just taking some deep breaths, that's great. But really thinking about your absolute right to be lit up, to be spoken to find peace in, to find focus in your practice. And anytime it feels like there's a norm or a thing that feels like it should be the neutral version of this pose, the ideal version, the average version, but that's, unless it's exactly the version you need, keeping you from expanding the practice of yoga. Come back to the center, left sole of the foot down, right sole of the foot down, off the left ankle over the right knee, lift the right knee up and in, flex in the left foot, and then move in a way that feels expansive, or don't move in a way that feels expansive to your part in creating something that really is universal. And I use that term because it's the best one I can think of right now. But, in a non-dualist tradition, it's all in. It's all always universal. Everything is everything. Just a whole other, discussion. But it's not even that we're making it universal. We're just rediscovering the way it really is, even though we've been taught that there's a neutral or a norm. that's often, again, white and cis and hetero and middle class and American and Anglo. Like there's so many things. Um, and really for specific kinds of bodies, not just able-bodied people, but like yoga, the so-called yoga bodies. Exhale, come back to center, feet come down, and that just took all that keeps us from being expansive. Walk the feet to the width of the mat, drop the knees to the right. Inhale to center, drop the knees to the left. It keeps us from being expansive in the way that was like already true and that we already were before we got shut down. Inhale the knees back to center. Gently draw the knees in towards the chest. And then go ahead, get yourself set up for Shavasana. You can just lay flat onto the mat. You can take your blanket or your towel and roll it up, put it underneath your knees or the back of the neck. Once you're done, you'll take a deep breath into the low belly. Exhale, sigh out through the mouth. Find the Shavasana that will focus and calm and hold you. If you're ready, you'll start to take some deeper breaths into the low belly. Longer breath out. And gently draw the knees up and in towards your chest. Roll to your side. And find a comfortable seated position. Close practice, so you might want to take your towel or blanket, fold it up, sit up to give your hips a little extra space, your low back some space. You want to sit in a chair or be standing. Any place where you can feel what I'll call your neutral. So not some external idea of something that is neutral, which never is, but where your kind of center, your midline focus lies for you. And then making sure that the parts of you that are the least neutral, the ones that feel like the greatest outliers, have plenty of space there. That your neutral is actually the place where you can fight in everything. or it can be your universal. Bring hands together at heart center. Take a deep breath into the low belly. Exhale, sigh out through the mouth. The chin come towards your chest. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.